专题讲座。然后首先祝大家就是Victoria Day，就是节日快乐。那在开讲之前呢，我们首先进行一个简单的学校介绍。我们是优才教育，主要呢就是做两方面的教育服务，补习和教育咨询。那补习我们就专注于英语、法语、数学、IB 相关的课程。那教育咨询方面呢，我们主要就是提供高中选课、高中学业规划、大学申请和私校申请的服务。那今天呢，我们就邀请 Jasmine 来做我们的演讲嘉宾。那在介绍她的背景之前呢，我先要说几点，这是非常觉得就是值得跟大家分享的。因为呢，Jasmine 呢，她现在呢就是这个 Master 大二的学生，但她在我们这个讲座成立之后呢，就很早就参加我们这个讲座。然后他妈妈就跟我们分享，就是说我们这个讲座就伴随着他，就是高中选大学专业。然后他之所以今天会做我们的这个讲座嘉宾，是因为他觉得他在这个讲座里面受益不少，所以今天他愿意分享他的经验，来帮助一些学弟学妹们，所以这个是令我非常感动的。就是说，我们做了2年多，差不多3年的讲座，开始我们见到有学生受益于这个讲座，然后再回报给就是大家这是第一点。那第二点呢，我就跟大家强调一下，Jasmine 是非常优秀的学生，等一下我会就是具体的介绍。首先，他 GPA 在大二可以拿到满分，这是非常厉害的。还有呢，今天呢有很多12年级的学生，有不少也是拿到这个就是麦马的iBiomed 这个专业 offer 的学生来听，所以可能听了这个讲座之后呢，他们会更加清晰的做这个就是相关的决定。OK 了，那现在我就介绍一下Jasmine 的背景。首先呢，他现在是麦马这个 iBiomed 专业的 iBiomed 和 Health Science 这个专业大二的学生，同时呢，因为他非常优秀，也成为了这个专业的宣传大使，而且呢，他还是这个微积分课程的助教 TA。他应该是说呢，就是德智体全面发展，而且还是校的那个击剑队的队员，还有小口径队的队长。就好像我刚才提到的，成绩就是非常优秀，连续2年就是荣登学校的学习荣誉榜，还有 GPA 满分。那我们大家应该都很期待，就是今天晚上Jasmine 跟我们分享她的一些学习的经历。那在开讲之前呢，我先就是代表我们的 sponsor 加拿大注册慈善机构 SFP 呼吁一下大家，就是说如果大家要养宠物的话呢，就希望领养代替购买。还有呢，就是关于今天晚上的这个讲座的语言是英文，然后呢，中文呢会提供中文字幕，所以如果大家是使用电脑的话，就在这个电脑的下方有菜单，如果大家看到西西部分的话呢，就请把它打开，就可以看到相关的中文翻译。如果大家是用手机的话呢，那也是在手机的下方会有个字幕，然后大家就是进入字幕的选择菜单里面进行适当的选择，就可以看到中文的翻译了。好的，那现在我们就邀请 Jasmine 来帮我们进行精彩的一个就是讲座，谢谢，Welcome Jasmine。
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, parents and students, for your interest in our program and attending this presentation. Let me just share my screen right now. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing about the iBiomed program at McMaster, and hopefully by the end of this presentation, grade 12 students who have the offer, you guys can consider this program, and high school students to maybe apply to this program in the future. So my name is Jasmine. As Anna introduced, I just finished my second year of iBiomed in the HESI stream. I'm going into my third year in September. I am a iBiomed program assistant, so I work with the admin in the iBiomed office, where I go to the McMaster Open House events to promote our program more, and also the Ontario Universities Fair. So this is at the OUF last September. And I also make all the social media for our official McMaster iBiomed Instagram. I'm also a math TA for our first year calculus course at McMaster, and I am a community advisor. It's also known as a Don and residence advisor. Different universities call it different things, but I live on campus with first year students and be sort of their mentor in their transition to first year university. I'm also in some sports and varsity sports at school, and also a 2 times Provost Honor Roll medalist, which is awarded if you have a perfect GPA throughout the year, and a undergraduate researcher. And prior to university, I did my high school in Arts Unionville piano, and I completed Air Cadet, and I am a RCM harmony instructor. So what what offers I had when I was choosing my university in grade 12, I was deciding between Waterloo's math program, Western's medical science program, and McMaster's iBiomed and McMaster's math and stats, and UFT life sciences. And out of these options, I chose McMaster iBiomed program. So our program, we call it iBiomed. The full name is Integrated Biomedical Engineering and Health Sciences, and in short form for IBEHS. And it's a really new program. It only started in 2017. So we only had our first year of graduates in 2022. We are in both the faculty of engineering and health sciences. So we have courses from that are engineering courses and health sciences courses. And we offer many stream specializations. After first year, going to second year, you can choose the health science stream. We have it as the Health Engineering Science and Entrepreneurship, also known as HESI stream, or the biomedical engineering stream. And I just want to make it clear that our program, you can only choose one or the other. It's not a double major. You can choose to graduate with a bachelor's of health sciences or a bachelor's of biomedical engineering. So you can't have both. And co-op is optional, but most students in biomedical engineering do choose to do the co-op. Just course-wise, the HESI stream you can finish in 4 years, and the biomedical engineering stream you can finish in 5 years. But this doesn't include the co-op years. If you decide to take a full year of co-op, it could easily go to 6 years or 7 years. So yeah, 4 or 5 years or more years. So here are all of our level 2 streams. Again, the health science stream with optional co-op or the biomedical engineering stream. And I just want to clarify our biomedical engineering stream, when you decide to go into biomedical engineering, you are choosing biomedical engineering plus another engineering discipline of your choice. So you have so many different options. You can choose to be a chemical biomedical engineer, a software biomedical engineer, biomedical engineer, but essentially you have to choose one of these plus the biomedical engineering courses. So, for example, if you take electrical biomedical engineering, you're taking all the courses that a normal electrical engineering student has to take, plus the biomedical engineering courses on top. So you're taking a lot of courses, that's why it is 5 years. And this is a little bit different from other engineering schools where because you're essentially learning two types of engineering, when you finish the program, you actually get accredited with two engineering accreditations. And that helps you if you want to become a professional engineer in the future, you need these accreditations. And this sort of gives you another pathway in that sense. So these are the some of the prerequisites when you apply in grade 12. You need English, all three sciences. You need calculus and vectors, but advanced functions is a prerequisite of that, so you would need that as well. And a minimum of 90% for your top six. And we only look at grade 12 grades, so we don't look at grade 11 grades for the top six. We also have a supplementary application. So this supplementary application is different from the health sciences supplementary application. So as you guys might know, the health sciences application is two essays. But for iBiomed, our supplementary application is more like the engineering supplementary application. In fact, if you apply to McMaster for engineering and biomedical engineering, you just need this one sub-app done. So once you apply on OUAC, you should get an email, a link from McMaster that tells you to do this recorded interview supplementary application. It consists of three recorded interview questions talking to a robot, and it's recorded, so it's not a real person on the other side. And there's also a short answer response written question, and you have a timer of 10 minutes to write this response. And it's not an essay, it's just a written response to the question, so it's not a huge thing to stress about. You don't know the questions before going into the interview, however, so that's the only thing. You can't prepare for it as much as like the health science application. But good thing is that the questions are mainly like soft skill questions, asking you about like how do you work in a team? Tell us about a time when something happened. Because there's so many instances and so many courses that require group work. So the main point is that we want to make sure the students that come into our program are good team workers and team leaders because group work is so important here. So because our program is still pretty new, we have annual reports every year. If you're interested in more stats and numbers, you guys can always go to the iBiomed website and there's an annual report every year. So we can sort of see the admission numbers, how many people applied and how many people are accepted. A good amount of people apply, but usually the acceptance number, we try to get 150 students every year. And for the averages, you can see that we have a minimum grade of 93, 94, and a maximum grade of like 99 or 100 sometimes. But the general average is around 97. So if you're in like a 95, 97, you're in a pretty good spot. But we like to tell students and parents that if you have like a 93, 94 average and a good supplementary application, you have a pretty good chance at getting accepted into our program. So a little bit of what happens after you accept the program and come in for the first year. So first year is basically like an engineering first year. You can see that we take the heavy physics and chemistry as a normal engineering student would take. What makes our program special is in these two key courses, the IBHS 1P10 and 1EP6, which is our design project course and cell bio course. And you can see that these two are year-long courses, so you take it in the fall and winter, so you take it all throughout first year. And you also have an elective, which you can choose to take in the fall or in winter. So you might have a course load of 6 courses sometimes, so it can be a pretty heavy first year. more into our program specific courses because that's what really gives our first years that authentic first year experience, different from normal engineering students. So for 1P10, it's our solutions design projects. And here you learn the core fundamentals of engineering, but in iBiomed, we apply that into a health, health problem. Every week, you're going to have 3-hour labs and design tutorials. And in the labs, you learn basic engineering skills like coding in Python and also modeling in Autodesk CAD. And don't worry if you had no experience going into this. I also had zero engineering skills before going into this program, but it teaches you from the very beginnings and starts. So it's possible to manage and learn it well. And in our design tutorials, it's also, you have it every week. And throughout the year, we're going to have 4 design projects. And these are all group work projects in teams of 4 to 5. So you're going to have like one project every 2 months where you have to work in a group to build a solution for a health problem. So, like in my year, we brought in a real patient who had the medical diagnosis of multiple sclerosis and had difficulties with everyday life. She moves in a wheelchair, and so our project was to design something that makes one part of her life easier. So this is sort of the applications where we use our engineering design into solving real life health problems. And our second very cool course, 1EP6, this is, you can imagine it as our cell bio course, but learning biology not from a traditional study exam method. Here we have alternating labs and tutorials. So one week you're going to have a 3-hour lab, the next week you're going to have a tutorial, and then it alternates. In our lab, this is actually very cool because we get to do wet labs where we grow human cell culture. And we have a whole lab just for iBiomed students. And imagine your first year and you get to grow human cell cultures. Not many programs get to do that, but because we have less people in our program, we are able to offer our first year students this experience. So that is very cool. And we write a lab report after that. And when we have our tutorial times, we learn about some more cell bio and work on 2 group presentations throughout the year. So again, group work is very important here. These are just some examples of the projects that first year iBiomed would work on. Over here, this is what Autodesk CAD looks like. So we make these models in a computer. We also do some electrical wiring where we work with a Raspberry Pi and more Python coding to get these LED lights to light up or move a actuator and gears to allow us to achieve our function using sensors. So this is one of the pretty cool design projects that we do. Here we have a poster presentation for our design project of making a hip implant. So we actually CADed this hip implant. We CADed it in the computer and then we 3D printed it out and it was for a patient as well. Down here, this is a gel electrophoresis and some human cell cultures that we grow in our wet labs for our cell bio course. And at the end of the year, we have a iBio tradition of the iBiomed Showcase. And so we take over the McMaster's Student Center for one day where we present the outstanding projects over the iBiomed program. So it includes like first year courses all the way to our 4th year iBiomed courses. And the outstanding projects are presented at the iBiomed Showcase. So what first year would look like is in your timetable, you would see labs and tutorials and lectures. So a lab is basically a smaller class size class where you would have 40 students in each section with sometimes one, two, or three TAs. And here, because you have less students, this is where you work on the projects, the experiments, and skills development. And oftentimes, these are mandatory. They require mandatory attendance, or attendance is required for marks. So if you don't show up, maybe you lost 1 or 2% to your final grade. But so these labs and tutorials are very important to attend to. Lectures are bigger class sizes, sometimes 200 to 300 students, depending on the lecture room. So it's like those big theater like rooms. And these classes are taught by the professor. And so the professor will go through lecture slides, and sometimes there's in class questions for participation marks. And these, because of the huge class size, no one's taking attendance. The attendance is not mandatory. Luckily, in first year, lectures for most classes should be recorded so you can rewatch them online, but don't get too reliant on that because in upper years, sometimes that's not always the case. The lectures are not recorded. And so, yeah, when you go into first year, you'll sometimes realize that sometimes you need to prioritize attending labs and tutorials over lectures. So just getting into that mindset for transitioning from high school to university. So McMaster is actually a really pre-med heavy environment. It's not like Western where many might think is a party school or Waterloo where it's very academics and co-ops heavy. McMaster is a very pre-med heavy environment. So every other person you talk to might say they're pre-med. So everyone has good extracurriculars, so you have a good influence of students around you. The campus is also very small and walkable. It's not too small, but compared to some other universities, it's a very walkable campus. You can get everywhere in 15 to 20 minutes. We also have a large variety of clubs and sports teams for you to join. But technical clubs such as iGEM or synthetic biology teams, or engineering like solar car rocketry teams, these technical clubs are actually quite competitive to join and require applications with like resumes and interviews. So in high school, it might be nice to have some experiences to write on those applications would be nice. Um, I do like to think that McMaster's testing content is quite reasonable as long as you studied hard, with the past exams, do the homework, you should be able to do pretty well. Not like, like some of my friends in Waterloo and U of T, they just get some test questions that they've never seen before. So I think in that sense, McMaster is pretty friendly. The profs are friendly with their testing content and also curves if the whole class is doing not the best. I think McMaster is also pretty close to Toronto. It's a fairly easy commute compared to farther places like Western. So if you live in Toronto, that might be a plus. But there's actually a lot of commuters from Mississauga, Oakville, and Burlington. So it also tends to show that more students come from these areas than GTA. So less students know about biomed in the GTA. And another another transition is knowing that in university, at least in McMaster, a 90% is an A plus, and a 100% is also an A plus. So doesn't matter if you get a 90 or a 100, you're getting an A plus, and that's perfect. So be smart about what assignments are weighted more and what you should spend more time on because it's ultimately the same thing if you're trying to get a 90 or a 100. And when maintaining a good GPA, I'd like to do previous year's practice tests. And just a shout out to iBiomed, we have many resources for first years and our iBiomed students, we have lots of resources and folders with like previous content. So these are pretty accessible if you are looking for them in first year. Also, go to office hours to ask professors and TAs for help because unlike in like traditional exam courses, for our courses that are project based, there's no multiple choice test for that, and it's solely dependent on how the TAs mark it with the rubric. It might be harder to get a 100% perfect on those projects, which is why don't be afraid to go to office hours to bother the TAs for help and making sure you checked off all those marks on their rubric. Sometimes their rubrics is even different from the one they give you. So it's okay to go to them often. And that actually helps because for our iBiomed courses, the TAs are actually undergraduate iBiomed students, which might not be the case for other schools or programs. But yeah, they are other undergraduate iBiomed students, so they have been in your shoes before. They're pretty friendly and relatable, so they're very easy to talk to if you need help. And in iBiomed, you are surrounded by very highly intellectual students. And compared to normal engineering students in the same class, iBiomed engineering students tend to have a higher GPA. So you can see that in the first graduating year, we had 6 iBiomed students going to graduate school, 65 on the Provost honor roll, which with a perfect GPA, and 11 students into medical school. So that is pretty impressive. So you are around a good environment in our program. With some jobs, co-ops, work experiences, we have students going into all of these workplaces, and even students creating their own companies, such as Imaginable Studios. This is a company created by our graduated alumni of our first graduating class. She actually took one of her first year design projects and continued to commercialize that. And now her company is pretty big and even hiring more iBiomed students into her company for co-op. So the entrepreneurship side of iBiomed is something that our program pretty puts an emphasis to with great great experiences like that. But also there we have like biomedical research engineers and like people who go to med school. So there's a wide variety of paths that iBiomed students and alumni can take. Here's just some more stats for especially seeing the pretty high percentage of students who go into med school. This is some data in 2023. We had 33 students going to med school from all the years of iBiomed, and that's a pretty high percentage. Many found jobs, and some are in PhD and master's studies. So, yeah. Some on the topic of medical school, some first year students come in with the idea that they're going to stream into HESI in second year because that's like the health sciences of iBiomed. And you can see that here, actually many students think of I think the red is students who want to go into biomedical engineering, and yellow is students who in first year wanted to go into HESI. It seems like a lot of students want to go into HESI, but when the students actually choose, these are the number of students who go into HESI, which is usually around a class size of 30. So if you're going into iBiomed first year with the intention that you want to go into HESI in second year and you don't have free choice, you can definitely go into HESI in second year. We've never reached a maximum capacity of 50 students in HESI, so don't worry about that. If you want to come in just for HESI, you'll definitely be able to come into HESI. As for the other engineering streams, when you pick your stream at the end of first year, you rank your choices of like your top choice, second choice, and all the choices. And then regarding which stream you end up in depends on your GPA and how competitive it is with other students. And the competitive rate for each stream differs every year too. A few years ago, it was software that was the most competitive one to get into. I think last year it was mechatronics, but every year is different. And there, if you don't have free choice, it all depends on how good your GPA, first year GPA is compared to other students. So when parents and students compare McMaster iBiomed to McMaster Health Sciences, typically they're comparing the HESI with health sciences because the biomedical engineering stream is too engineering focused to be compared to health sciences. So we're just going to talk about HESI versus health sciences. And so the first thing is HESI students actually take most of the courses health sciences students take, just spread out among different years. And there in both programs, there are many project-based courses, but just the HESI project courses are different from the health science project courses, where HESI project courses have more engineering design and entrepreneurship business aspect to it. And HESI students are eligible for co-op. I'm not sure about that for health sciences. And HESI students also have like the biomedical engineering courses. So the difficulty might be higher than health sciences. And a key like aspect of HESI is in our fourth year, we have this course called Innovators and Scrubs, where our professor gives students placement into hospitals to observe the surgeries. And the purpose is to design and innovate a product for the surgical or hospital use. And so it's not like a job application where you're applying on your own. You will definitely get a hospital placement in your fourth year Innovators and Scrubs course. So here is the course outline for the health science program. You can see that the red boxes are the highlighted courses that the HESI students also take. The blue courses are the project courses that's specific for health sciences students. So you can see that cell bio, this is the same cell bio as what iBiomeds take in first year. The chemistry, iBiomeds have to take it as well. Anatomy and physiology, iBiomeds take, stats and cell bio and health literature, we have to take as well. And you can see that most of the other courses that we don't take are all project courses specific to the health science students. You can see like all these inquiry, introduction, thesis projects. We have our similar ones as well. This is the schedule for a HESI student. You can see that the chemistry, anatomy, and physiology are still here. We do have a introduction to genetic engineering course, which is pretty cool. You actually do genetic engineering and learn the circuitry to that. We do have to take some more engineering mathematics, so that might be the more difficult aspect of HESI. These two are our project courses here. Our project courses more geared towards innovation. And we're taking organic chemistry, which is actually not a prerequisite in health sciences, but the students tend to take it as an elective anyways. But for us, we have to take it anyways. Here we have the stats and health literature. Biomedical signals and systems is a biomedical engineering course. So again, a difficult one. Another group project course for iBiomed students related to entrepreneurship. The cell bio that health sciences take as well, and more business ones specific to HESI. And these are some more biomedical engineering courses that we have to take as iBiomed students. And then we have fourth year where we end off with the thesis and our innovators and scrubs course. So in comparison, most of the courses, we basically take all of health sciences courses with different project courses and extra biomedical engineering courses. So difficulty might be harder. Uh, since I went to Unionville High School, I just want to talk a little bit about how that high school prepared me for university. I was in the arts program. The arts program was a very good one at Unionville High School, and I found that being surrounded by very professional artists helped me build an appreciation and more passion. And in university, when you're alone in a new environment, that can be very valuable in sharing different experiences with people and also finding time for yourself as well. And in terms of the academics, I felt that Unionville High School gave a good opportunity to build strong fundamentals in maths and sciences. But given that as the student has themselves do have to go search for those extra opportunities to build a stronger foundation. So I'm sure any high school you could do that as well. Some tips for high school students. I would suggest you guys to visit open houses. Visit different university open houses and the Ontario University Fair to just to get a feel of the university environment. Even if you just started high school, it could be nice to see what is the environment and goal you are working towards in the 4 years of high school. And you can stay updated with university events for high school students. So different programs, different schools might have events specifically for high school students. Like iBiomed, actually in July, we have a event for high school girls called Design Like a Girl Design-a-thon, where you can join and come see what it's like to do a whole design project in one day. So events like these can really help you get a head start to the university that you want to go to. It would be nice to build a strong physics and maths foundation for first year university because first year university courses are very, very similar to high school to grade 12, just with some more content. So if you have a good foundation in grade 12, it would definitely put you at a better place in first year university. Also, when choosing, it's nice to invest time in extracurriculars that are meaningful, builds you a pretty nice, well-rounded resume when applying to different positions in university. One thing that I found that helped me a lot was coffee chatting with upper year students to seek for more opportunities and learning experiences to walk lesser long paths. In iBiomed, actually, our community is very great. We have iBioBuds where you can sign up to be paired mentor. And with our small amount of students and alumni, we tend to have a pretty tight-knit community. So that's another aspect where you can get those coffee chats and opportunities. And last but not least, really put your if you think you're going to get rejected from, because you never know, you could get in. How would you get in if you don't try? So don't be afraid to get rejected from those work, co-op, volunteer applications because that's how essentially you will learn to apply other stuff in the future. So yeah, that's all I have, Anna. Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for all this information. Just let us have a much better understanding about your program, this new but promising program. Okay, now I think we can start the Q&A. Is it okay?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. 大家，那我们现在 presentation 做完了，现在我们就可以开始这个问答的环节。那如果大家有问题的话，可以开麦直接问Jasmine，或者呢就在 chat 里面就是打出你的问题，好吧？谢谢。Okay, Jasmine, can I ask the first question?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
I was wondering, so is there any student switch from health science to your program or your program switch to health science program?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. We do have students who have switched from health sciences to iBiomed and then ended up choosing engineering streams. And trying to go the other way from iBiomed to health sciences, you would have to write the health sciences supplementary application for that year again. So, yeah, you can go both ways.
Okay, so that means if you switch from your program to health science, maybe you need to go through like the application procedure. But maybe it sounds a little bit easier for the health science student. They just switch to your program, right?
I'm not sure about how easy it is for both sides, but yeah, it is possible. I have seen people who have done that.
Okay, but the percentage is quite low, right?
Yeah, the percentage is definitely.
Okay, thank you. So right now we have two questions in the chat. Can you help us to just answer the questions?
Okay. I'll start with the first one, Lucy.
Mm.
Would you recommend a student with med school as their primary goal to go to Mac Life Science or iBiomed? So, um, at iBiomed, we don't like to say we're a pre-med program, but given the fact that many students do go for med school in mind and myself as well, so it's totally okay to come for as a pre-med. But in comparison to Mac Life Sciences, I have friends in Mac Life Sciences, and I feel like their courses are more like study and then test based, whereas with iBiomed, you are doing a lot more math, calculuses, and physics, and more group work as well. So, depending on your strengths with math and physics and how well of a group work member you are, you can consider if iBiomed is better for you or McMaster Life Sciences. I do think, though, McMaster, as I said in the presentation, is a pretty like grades heavy test grades friendly school. So in either one, you could get a pretty good GPA. So in that sense, both are not bad options. Hope that answered your question. Mandy, what is the percentages of iBiomed students who go to medical school? Um, and from the data in 2023, students over all the years of the existence of iBiomed went into med school. But however, iBiomed includes students who are a biomedical engineering path, so no intention of medical school are also represented in this data as well. So it is a pretty high percentage for a fairly new program.
Sorry, Jasmine, because when you are talking about the number, it just like lagging. So can you repeat that
Oh,
number? It's 23%. Is it correct?
23%. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
which was 33 students over the years.
Thank you.
Yes. What is the acceptance rate for iBiomed students for high school? It was like, I think it was mentioned in the slides. We usually accept 150 students every year. And around last year and the year before, it was around 1,500, 600 applicants. So about 10%. 10% is probably what you're looking at. Amber, how and when did you start looking for summer research opportunities? Yeah, so I think research is a really great thing in iBiomed, and this is one I would strongly recommend over other programs, is because we're in the faculty of both engineering and health sciences. So that widens the places where you can look for research opportunities. You can look for biomedical research opportunities in the faculty of engineering that normally health sciences students are not searching for. And that's actually where I found my research opportunity as well. I'm doing research with biosensors, trying to diagnose influenza more rapidly for clinical use. And so, like, with these research experiences are more on the technical side than like literature, um, clinical studies. So definitely research, you have more opportunities to look for research in iBiomed, I feel like. How and when? There are first year students looking for research, and I started looking this year, but you can really look anytime, would be nice. Um, Hi, Jasmine. Did you take all three science classes in high school? And what extracurriculars did you put on your application? Yeah, I took all three sciences in high school because it's a prerequisite. So you do need biology, physics, and chemistry. As for extracurriculars, I want to say that McMaster, we are not like Waterloo where we have an AIF for you to list every single extracurricular. We don't have that. So there was no place to put what extracurriculars you did on the application. It could help you with your supplementary interview and answers with your experiences, but there's no place to put that. So yeah, I did not put that in my application. Um, it's the part where you talked about high school top six. And did you take both advanced functions and calculus in grade 12? Yes, I did take. I took advanced functions in grade 11 actually, and then took calculus in grade 12. Um, Cheryl, where do people usually work after going for iBiomed? We have students, alumni in really every single field technically. Like there's some students who go into like the banking industry, lots in engineering, different even like different sorts of engineering. You don't have to be a biomedical engineer. You could be a software engineer. Lots of students in those types of places. You could also start your own company, and our school actually has a lot of resources and actually encourage that a lot for alumni entrepreneurs. So that's a possible route as well. Health science has a higher acceptance than iBiomed to get into medical school. I think, yeah, probably. Health science is known for a high acceptance, but iBiomed, like we said, that iBiomed includes the students who are engineers, so that data is kind of skewed in that sense. Um, when McMaster admits students, does it consider their application priority? I'm not too sure about that with application priority, but there is a deadline for the supplementary application at the end of January. So everyone has to apply before that. And the first round of offers for iBiomed came out in March. So everyone would have had submitted their application before they started handing out offers. How do you still prepare for medical school if iBiomed is more workload heavy? Yeah, so for medical school, there's some things you have to prepare. You have to prepare for the MCAT and like keep up with your extracurriculars. And even though iBiomed is workload heavier than other programs, you can still definitely do some extracurriculars. Maybe a first year is has a very heavy workload. If you go into HESI, your workload gets lighter in second year, third year, fourth year. First year is your most difficult year. So for me, I didn't do as much in first year, but in second year, I had a lot more extra. I stacked up on the extracurriculars, and I'm taking my MCAT this summer, so I just spent like one summer preparing for MCAT. You don't have to be preparing for that during the year. We will join Unionville piano program this fall. Oh, that's nice. We heard the last 2 years will be very intense with music. How do you manage a balance with music and academic? Um, yeah, the last 2 years, I think for Unionville piano program, all 4 years has equal intensity for music. Um, Yeah, I don't think the last 2 years is more intense, but last 2 years is definitely more intense with, your academics. For me, my piano was, like, not, like, my focus in grade 12, grade 11 and 12, and I've put a lot more time to academics. That being said, my piano grade wasn't in my top 6, so for me, it was not too big of a issue. If iBiomed students wants to go to medical school, do they need to take some extra courses? And do they have enough time to prepare for the exam? So extra courses as in prerequisites for certain medical schools. In Ontario, actually most schools don't have prerequisites, so there's not too much there, but even the schools that like have prerequisites, like U of T needs 2 full course credits for biology. Our cell bio course and anatomy and physiology course in second year, these all count. So in terms of prerequisites, are the courses in our program already holds most of all of them actually. Maybe just not English if you're looking to apply to like out of province ones. But if you do choose HESI, you do have more electives spaces where you can choose to take those as well. Um, and do they have enough time to prepare for the exam? So yeah, you can prepare for the exam during the summer. Percentage of boys and girls in your program? This is actually a really cool question because in McMaster Engineering, we have a pretty equal percentage of girls and boys. And in our program specifically, usually there's more girls than boys. So yeah, that's sort of the percentage you're looking at. I will be the first year student, and which professor should I be avoiding? Any good um, advice for course selection? Um, Lillian, I'll just ask if you could reply me, like, are you a first year student for iBiomed or some other program? Because it would be different for another program. In iBiomed, there's we don't really have course selection. Your timetable is sort of given to you. So that sort of solves the problem of course selection for first year iBiomeds. So you don't really have a choice in um, what professors either. Lucy, what is the hardest course to get an A plus GPA in that you've taken so far? What suggestions do you have for younger iBiomed students and getting good grades in the harder engineering courses or the more time consuming or group courses? The hardest course I took hmm, in first year, let's just talk about first year. In first year, the hardest course, I think, um, for me, it would be 1P10, the design project course, only because that course is project based and with 2 exams, but they're not weighted so much. It's most of your grade comes from the projects. And when it's a project, it's TA marked, so it's harder to get 100% on that. Not like the other like calculus, physics. Oh, all of those courses at Mac are multiple choice. So that is possible to get 100% and get an A plus on. I found the project courses harder to get like perfect, so that was probably the hardest course to take. But if you do follow along with the technical requirements like the coding and CADing, we do have assessments for that. If you do well in those, then and you know carry a lot for the group work, it usually turns out all right. Um, hi, Jasmine. Between health science and iBiomed, which program is easier to get a higher GPA in because many students in both programs aim for medical school? Yeah, many do. In health sciences, I would say health sciences is definitely easier to get a higher GPA in, but it depends. If you're very strong in like math and physics, right? iBiomed could still be a good option, like a easy option for you to get a good GPA. So, yeah. In Unionville, did you join STEM club as well? How did you develop your interest in the current major? Um, in Unionville, I actually didn't join many clubs in Unionville. Spent most of my time on cadets and extracurriculars there. So I didn't join STEM club in Unionville. Um, with interest to my current major, it was kind of a lucky pick for me as well. I didn't apply to any other engineering programs in grade 12. I only applied to this one because there was the health science stream in second year. So I think it just so worked out pretty well that I'm getting a bit of the engineering in it. And I think it's a nice perspective to look at health problems in the world from a designer aspect than a health science aspect. Of Gracie, for first year iBiomed, what semester do you recommend taking your elective? And do you have any recommended recommendations for electives? Um, yeah, that's a great point. Electives in first year, if you do take an elective, you would end up with one semester with 6 courses, and that would be kind of a lot given the course load. So I actually didn't take my elective in first year and I took it in second year because HESI gets easier. If you want to go into engineering, that might not be the case for you, so maybe you do want to take it in first year. If you do take it in first year, it would be easier to take it in the first semester because in the second semester, especially the design projects starts becoming more advanced stuff where you need more coding and building stuff. So definitely taking the elective in first semester would make your workload in second semester a lot lighter. As for recommendations for electives, um, I took psychology, Psych 1 Exo 3, and in second year I took music therapy 2 MT3, which is a pretty good course because it was fully online. Another thing about taking electives in upper years is you do have more choices because in first year like most people take like psych or econ, that sort of stuff. So yeah. Did you prepare for MCAT on your own? Are there supports at MAC for iBiomed students applying to med schools? Also, if you know, what are some examples of med schools from people I iBiomed have gotten into? Um, so we've had students go into like a lot of med schools, like UFT, Ottawa, Queens, like Master, Vancouver, UBC, like everywhere. Like most in Canada a lot, even some in like USA's in the States MD PhD programs. So there's some really smart people in iBiomed. As for MCAT support, there's a lot of support for that. Like I said, we have iBiomeds and health sciences. We have like folders that have resources with like the MCAT textbooks and help scheduling to help you make a schedule for studying. So don't worry about the resources available to you here. There's a lot if you look for them. For high school students who want to go to medical school, which program has more chances, health science or iBiomed? So percentage-wise, health science has a bit more than iBiomed. Yeah.
No, I mean, actually, for high school, you also need to consider the percentage chances to go to health science and biomed. Yeah, maybe health science is uh, it's harder itself. So generally speaking, the percentage, yeah, because I think we cannot choose both of them, right?
When applying, you can apply to both. When you have both offers in hand, yeah, you can only choose one.
Like both of them, okay.
Yeah. Um, from the application sense, like health sciences has a lot of applications every year. Like we're talking 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. iBiomed is still fairly new, not so many people know about it. So I think it was from like 1,500. It's getting more every year, but if you compare it in that sense, it's a lot less. But iBiomed also accepts less people than health sciences. We only accept 150 students every year. Health sciences, I think it's somewhere in the 200s. So, mhm. Um, for my for my top six, it was just the main top sixes that you need: English, biology, chemistry, physics, calculus vectors, and advanced functions. Do students from the iBiomed engineering stream also get into med school? So yeah, here's the thing, a lot of students go into first year iBiomed with med school in mind. But after first year, some of them think that, hey, maybe I don't want to do medicine and I'd go into biomedical engineering. So in a lot of students, like that's their case. But some students think that, what if I can get an engineering degree while also apply for medicine? So if I don't get into medical school. So some students think that way as well. I would say there are success cases. It is very hard though because you are taking engineering courses and it's harder to get a higher GPA. And those courses would take more time as well. So you also want to consider what how much time you can spend doing extracurriculars. But that being said, it is possible. We have had students who did that. Just not everyone. Most people who go into the engineering stream don't have medical school in mind. You received a research scholarship for first year iBiomed engineering. Is there any help I will receive from school to find research opportunities? Oh, that's very great. Um, Great to apply to the research scholarship when applying in grade 12. I actually didn't do that, but that is an amazing achievement you have. This would be very beneficial when you apply to when you go look for research positions. So essentially you still have to go look for the research yourself by emailing professors. But in your email, you can tell them that you have this scholarship and they would be more likely to take you on because you would have funding. So, yeah. Did you get your RCM instructor certificate in high school? Was a requirement for the piano program? No, it was not. There's no requirements for the piano program. I have my RCTs if I got it in high school. Yeah. How do you choose a good team member for the project? Oh, so actually, for the group projects, you don't get to choose your team member. It is purely random. So you don't get to choose your team member. You just have to learn how to work with the different people that you get assigned into a team with. Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jasmine. Did we finish all the questions?
Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Okay, yeah, thank you.大家还有没有什么问题想请教一下 Jasmine 呢？因为很难得有个机会，Jasmine 在这里帮我们就是做一个解答。
Actually, a few more have popped up.
Okay, maybe the last few questions. Is it okay?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Have you ever regretted joining the program? Actually, no, I think it was a very good choice given the other offers I was deciding between. Um, Western medical science or this one. I think McMaster, the environment is very nice, and also the environment given from the iBiomed program. The the first year experience was really I found it very great, so I don't regret joining this program. May I know what extracurriculars or volunteer you are doing? Sort of like extracurriculars. Doing some sports would be nice extracurriculars. Um, Volunteering. Many people volunteer at hospitals. There's so many hospitals at in the Hamilton area, so lots of people do that. I haven't started doing that yet, but some other extracurriculars I'm doing are just like research assistant, um, residence advisor, teaching assistants, that sort of thing. Yeah. What was your favorite course and why? I really liked I really liked anatomy and physiology in the second year because that course, you learn a lot of the anatomy and physiology, which is helpful with MCAT, and I found that pretty interesting. It is difficult to like memorize all of that stuff in your head for the test, but it's a very worthwhile experience and really great experience to have and would really help in with MCAT prep. What is the biggest benefits and challenges from the piano program? Um, the biggest benefits I would say is that you're surrounded by very professional musicians, and that's different from just learning RCM piano from a private teacher. When you have a environment of other professionals around you, you learn a lot more about like the cultural aspects of the music. So I think that benefited me to find more appreciation and passion for music in university as well. Challenges, you would have to practice. You would have to spend more time practicing piano, and it's not like you can't get 100% on that. So you just have to practice as much as you can. Any pros and cons you think of this program? Mm, I think I talked about a lot the pros. Another pro that maybe I could add on is the first year environment is very team building friendly esque. And I think this is a result of our smaller program. Whereas in like life sciences, you're in a class, there's like 1,000 people in your same program. And there's that competitive feeling that everyone's a pre-med around you. But in iBiomed in first year, because no, you haven't streamed yet and there's so much group work, it tends to be a more friendly and bonding and helping each other out atmosphere. So I think that's another pro. Con, um, definitely you have to learn how to manage your time wisely and keep up with the first year studying and fundamentals to help you succeed in first year. What is the score in grade 12 to get into iBiomed program? So like the statistics was like average around 97, 95, 97, but on the lower end, like a 93, 94. If you have any other questions for this program, you can always ask Anna. She can help you contact me. I'm deciding between Waterloo Biomedical Engineering and iBiomed, and suggestions. So Waterloo Biomedical Engineering, I'm not too sure about that program, but it's definitely different from biomedical engineering in terms of like even just the accreditation, where we can have two accreditations, and Waterloo Biomedical Engineering might just be one. In terms of the if you're considering like the co-op chances, I'm not too sure about what Waterloo does with their co-op, but at McMaster, we do have a portal called Oscar Plus where there's some co-op opportunities on there. But in the end, co-op is still about how you send those resumes and apply for them. So it might be the same in both.
Okay, Jasmine, for that Chinese question, can you read Chinese or you need me to do the translation for you?
You can translate it for
Okay,
me.
perfect. Thank you. Yeah, the question is, I heard before that to be admitted to a master, you must take a non-academic course in high school, such as piano or guitar. Is that true?
I'm actually not sure. At least for iBiomed, that's not the case. That might be the case for health sciences. Maybe you could double check that. As we'll go to master this program this fall, we have many more questions. Thank you. Okay. Does volunteer in the hospital experience help to apply for iBiomed and health sciences? It could, yeah, it could be a nice extracurricular, but then again, we don't have anywhere for you to list that out. It could help with your experience in like answering the questions though. How do you say the time spending proportion between piano program and curriculum study in AU? I would say, you would be studying a lot. You would be practicing a lot, and if you want to keep up with good academics, you would have to be studying a lot. So grade 9 and 10 is sort of, you're still in the stage of finding out what you want to do. And as you sort of have a better idea of what you want to do in grade 11 and 12, you can spend more time on what's more important to you. And for me, that was academics. So in my higher years, I did spend more time on my STEM courses than piano. If the student targets medical school in the future and he's in grade 8 now and will be going to IB program, what are your recommendations to plan each year in high school? IB, that's really great in grade 8. I didn't go to IB, so I'm not too sure about what IB high school would look like. But yeah, just keep your grades up, build a strong fundamental STEM skills, and that would put you in a pretty good place in first year. Is there any dormitory that is better for girls in McMaster? For residents, yeah. So residents, we do have one building that's an all girls building, and we have another building where like two of its floors is an all girls floor. But most buildings are co-ed buildings where it's guys and girls. For better dormitory for girls in McMaster, um some of the buildings are a bit older, but the all girls ones is a little bit older. So you might want to consider, do you want to live in an older one or a newer building? What is the most useful time management tool or habit you've used? I think, making a list of everything you need to get done every day, because it can pile up a lot with all the labs and tutorials every day. So making a good plan of what you need to do every day and the next day would keep you on a pretty good track of, making it through the year.
Mhm. Okay, thank you so much, Jasmine, because I think you already answered a lot of questions. So yeah, so now can we just invite Mr. Zhou to help us to just give us a summary of today's workshop? Is it okay? Okay, thank you. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you to all the parents who were with us tonight. Certainly, want to thank Jasmine for her rich presentation. I wasn't really aware of the program's existence, so certainly I learned quite a bit. And this is the beauty about education. Certainly, it always continues to innovate, especially universities that do a lot of research in really providing rich programs to students. And Jasmine was able to provide us with much information on McMaster's most recent program that started in 2017. But let me kind of focus on Jasmine a little bit or briefly. Jasmine, you're quite talented and bright, and certainly your skill in presentations are excellent, and the way you conducted yourself and presented to us the information in responding to the questions. I congratulate you on that, and certainly we welcome you back as well in the future to present to us as well. But in terms of the program itself and what Jasmine was able to provide us, really she, in as much as she's entering year 3 in the biomedical engineering and health sciences program, which really highlights engineering fundamentals as well as health sciences courses. And what she emphasized in the program itself is that the program really combines 2 type of accreditations that students are able to come up with, both on the engineering side as well as the health sciences side. And additionally, she was able to highlight the hands-on projects that were part of the program and emphasis on group work and people skills. So as many parents were with us tonight in asking questions, is simply highlighted again or reminded us all the importance of the soft skills that students need to develop while they're in high school, because they do become critical once they enter university, because they have to perform at high levels. And again, this was one of the highlights Jasmine pointed that projects and people skills or group work was critical to the success of many students and one of the outcomes of the programs. The program itself, which takes about 150 students, requires 90 plus average. I heard her say 93, 94 with a good supplementary application at one point or another. And it does require that students take all 3 grade 12 sciences. A word of caution to IB students or IB parents, because those students are limited to taking only 2 IB science courses, which would force you to take the 3rd science in grade 12 if you are interested in this type of program to obtain that 3rd science outside of your day school through alternative methods. So it's just a limiting factor for the IB program for students who want to enter this particular program. Jasmine also detailed much information on the year 1 courses, which really looks like year 1 engineering, but did state that year 2 focuses more on the health sciences part, which is one of the highlights that she kind of likes about the program itself. in year one as well, one of the differences or addition to year one was the additional courses that emphasize the design projects. And this is where year one tends to be quite heavy. The workload is requires a lot of time management and organizational skills that students need to have. And that's why the answer that she gave, one of the last answers about maintaining a schedule or planning and writing things down is critical to be able to succeed in all of these courses, and just time is limited for everyone. In her description or information, she also highlighted the difference between lectures and labs, and also emphasizing the outcomes of the program itself, where from the 2023 stats, she highlighted that 35 students went on to the master's, 33 students went into the medical field, and about 70 or about 50% of the students went on to the working world, most likely in research-related type of careers. And also she did say that quite a few students obtain a perfect GPA, which is quite amazing. And I would be willing to bet that Jasmine is one of those students. What else can I say in terms of the summary? She did speak about the transition from high school to university. And again, because year one tends to be fairly competitive, students are always asked to find time to get involved in clubs, highlighting that some of the clubs do have an interview process because they are very competitive as well. And she did remind students to study hard, not only first year, but throughout the program itself. She then gave us a kind of a comparison chart between HESE and health sciences courses and programs. That way, parents have a clear idea of the differences between the engineering focus versus the health science focus stream or pathway that students can take. Advice to students is always to be well prepared, manage your time well, be involved, and perhaps, kind of stay involved and communicate with your peers and TAs and professors whenever possible. So the key highlights really were around maintaining high GPA averages, group work and skills, as well as making sure that students find practical applications to what they're learning, and that's where the research and the placement, whether it's through co-op or other learning opportunities, comes into play. So lots to digest, lots of information that Jasmine gave us, and hopefully parents walked away with the opportunity to kind of simply say, students don't necessarily have to go into medical sciences or life science programs to get into medical school. There are many different roads that they can take as a way of getting a strong background in different areas so that they eventually can apply to med school. So thank you to Jasmine for that. And, good luck in the future. You did not say to us what you want to do in the future, though, Jasmine.
Oh, I am pre-med myself. I'm taking the
Okay.
MCAT summer. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. And also just thank you, Jasmine, for this wonderful presentation. So now just we can go back to the Victoria Day evening and to see whether we still can see the firework. 好的，谢谢大家。然后呢，就是谢谢大家今晚的参与。然后我们继续就是享受这个剩下的 long weekend。谢谢，下周再见。OK，拜拜，拜拜。Joe, see you tomorrow evening. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay,
Take care.
thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, Jasmine, can we just create a breakout room and I have one